track review.
Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd. It's a Sunday. This past week was pretty good, but I'm ready to just leave this week in the dust, get the next one coming. Excited for this coming week. And a couple good things to note. One thing I want to direct your attention to, or two things, on theneedledrop.com is there's a website, All Day Samples, that you guys can go to if you dug the new Girl Talk LP. Click on that if you want to see my review of it. This fantastic website shows you all of the samples played inside of the album as you stream the whole LP. Really fun shit. And the second thing, the band Mogwai, of course, has released the album art and the release date for their upcoming LP, Hardcore Will Never Die But You Will. And they have also released the first single from the album. There's a widget on the website where you can download the MP3, take a listen to it. Should I review it tomorrow? Should I track review it tomorrow? Should I? Let me know! But that is not what we're here to talk about on this particular episode of Track Reviews, where we discuss the latest and greatest and worst in rock, pop, electronic, and experimental music of the independent persuasion. The band in question is Deathspell Omega. These guys have been getting a lot of requests in my most recent videos. I gotta say, my metalheads, you are very diligent with your requests. Now, honestly, I've never listened to any of this band's stuff before, so prior to this track review, I went back, streamed a bunch of their old albums, so you guys pretty much broke my Deathspell Omega cherry, so pat yourselves on the back for that one. As I was digging through certain parts of the band's discography, I really liked the thrashiness and the harshness of their early stuff, but then they kind of evolved into, I don't know, just black metal balladry, just something that kind of reminded me of Bergraven, but this EP was really ambitious. I love the lengths of the songs on here, and this thing was a pretty tough chew too. Now with their latest work, the band has evolved into something that a lot of people are calling very progressive. I would much rather label it as highly technical music, a very highly technical brand of metal that is also inspired by black metal. The track in question that we're about to take a listen to is Devouring Famine, link in the D-box so you can hear it too. Let's see what it's got to offer. Wow, just I feel like I have a lot to say about that song. I know that Deathspell Omega is most commonly associated with the black metal genre, but I feel like at this point they're not even really playing black metal, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I just want to note how interesting I think it is that they've really just evolved past what they used to do on their earlier stuff into something that is much different. Whether you like them or hate them, you've got to admit that these guys have really gone above and beyond to make sure that they are not a one-trick pony and not just rehashing a lot of the same stuff that their contemporaries have been in the black metal genre. So now that we're past that, this really reminded me of, in some ways, some bands I'm already familiar with, in that they really like to take their technical ability and bring it to a point where they're constantly throwing new ideas, new things, different riffs, or just dissonant sounds in your face to the point where it's just a sensory overload and it's just difficult to interpret much of anything that's going on. I'm thinking bands like Ruins, thinking bands like Portal, or Behold the Arctopus, or even to an extent The Locust. Though I wouldn't necessarily say fans of this band will like any of those bands, they all very similarly go for that idea of just throwing all this shit at the wall at once and just kind of seeing what sticks. There are some more straightforward, more melodic tracks on this new LP, Paracletus, but this one in particular is maybe just an example of what I'm not a huge fan of on the album. It does sound like an assault. It is an assault. It is a red-ass beatdown. But the thing is, none of it is all that captivating to me. Even after multiple listens, nothing really sticks with me or interests me. And though I like the fact that Deathspell Omega on many parts of this LP, including this track, are able to take something planned, but make it sound so cacophonous, so random, so chaotic, so unplanned. It sounds almost as noisy as like free jazz, but it's clearly been written. I find the technical ability of this band very interesting, but that only brings me so far. You know what I'm saying? Who knows what the hell chords were being played on the guitar? The drums were just so relentless at many points of this track. The vocals were maybe just a little lower than I would have liked them. It was kind of hard to make out a lot of what was being said. All the overwhelming sound has kind of just left me underwhelmed, because after all the noise just stops, I'm kind of left feeling empty with no memory of anything that I just experienced. So even though I am digging their earlier stuff a lot more, and I do thank you guys for turning me on to that, I can't say I'm a huge fan of this track, and I'm surprised I didn't like it as much as I did, because I did hear it in my latest blog TV, but I don't know, just on first listen, I was much more impressed with it than I was after repeated listens. So I'm kind of feeling a light to decent 5 on this track. I don't hate it, I'm just really meh on it. There are songs on this album that I do like, The Closer for example, and I like that track a lot because it is very well written, it is much more melodic, but most of the tracks on this album aren't like that one. You guys heard the track, let me know down in the comments what did you think of it, did you love it, did you hate it, and why, and what should I review next? Forever.